All we do is win, 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 no matter what. And we got money on our minds this evening, and you're going to be the beneficiary of it. You're going to be the beneficiary of all the information and the content that is yours and available for use as you explore your options at Trinity Washington. In a second, I'm going to share my screen so that you can have a fuller, richer experience and understanding of the programs that are at your disposal. But first, we have to set the stage. So I just want to make clear what you would find at Trinity as a student here. A number of you are members of our incoming class, and congratulations to those that have accepted the offer to join us in our 125th year of Trinity Washington, doing what we do best: inclusive excellence, educating those for justice, which is our mantra. And it's a mission that's near and dear and deep in our hearts and soul. So I'm joined here by my colleagues and partners, and I'm so glad that we're well supported in all that we do at Trinity. So in a moment, I'm going to let those that are presenting tonight make a quick introduction. Then I'll come back and share my screen again so we can get underway with some of our programming. Let's do introductions. I'll start with the Vice President of Enrollment Services. And previously, someone had asked, even before we got started, I'm Monica Moore. I'm the Vice President of Marketing, Recruitment, and Admissions. And I never like to spend too much time with me, so let me quickly turn it over to Kathy, who is the Vice President of Enrollment Services. Kathy?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Geyer. I'm the Vice President of Enrollment Services at Trinity. I've been at Trinity for about 20 years, working with financial aid, student accounts, and the registrar's office. Really glad to see you here tonight and look forward to sharing all our information.
Fantastic. Thank you. Larry Davis.
Hello, everybody. My name is Larry Davis, and I'm with Educational Opportunity Center. We are a free service to District of Columbia residents, and we partner with Trinity University to assist you guys with admissions, financial aid, and scholarships. So it's my pleasure to be here, and you guys are making the best decision of your life by going to school or going back to school. So congratulations to each and every one of you.
Thank you, Larry. And Jessica Stamp.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jessica Stamp, and I am Director of Admissions for the College of Arts and Sciences. Really excited to welcome everyone here this evening. And again, if you have any questions about financial aid or just the admissions process for the undergraduate programs here at Trinity, I am happy to assist.
Fantastic. And we are joined by some of our other admissions and recruiting staff. I see Wanda and Cynthia will go in rapid succession. I did get a notice that some people are having troubles with the link. Our apologies. Sometimes things happen within the Zoom universe. I don't know if it's a system issue or if there's a user interface matter, but what we'll do is this. We'll continue because the show always has to go on. Remember that. We'll record it and recirculate this. We can always do an encore should we need to. And you also have a direct connect to get in touch directly with your financial aid counselor. So let's take good use of the time that we have together and optimize that, and we'll have the recording available for those who were unable to join us. Wanda, then Cynthia, and we'll do quick introductions of the recruiting staff that are here. You're muted, Wanda, if you wanted to say a few words of hello.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I'm so glad to join you. I'm serving in this wonderful group of professionals as Associate Director for Transfer, including military and international. I'm glad to join you today. So I hope that you get the best of this information. Have a great day. See you later.
Thank you, Wanda. Cynthia?
Hi, my name is Cynthia Bond, and I am a recruiter here in the School of Professional Studies. I've been with Trinity 6 years. Welcome, and we're excited about the opportunity of you becoming a part of our family.
Fantastic. And Taslima, I see Taslima's on. Oh, fantastic. Good.
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Taslima, and I am the recruiter for the School of Nursing and Health Professions, the Associate Director of NHP. So anyone interested in nursing programs, I'm your connect. I'm excited that you guys are here taking the time to learn more about all the free money out there. College isn't as scary as you may think it is. There's a bunch of money, and we're here to help you find it.
Fantastic. And I see a number of other people are starting to join. If in case you didn't hear my previous message, welcome to Trinity Washington. This is your night about DC grants. We are recording this session just for an FYI. If you know friends that wanted to join but had technical difficulties, luckily you were able to make it. A couple of things will happen. One is the show will go on and we'll share this recording so no one will miss any information. Why? Because knowledge is power, and it's our responsibility to ensure you get this knowledge so that you can have the power. So we'll make sure that actually happens. But if you do have a friend that didn't make it, why don't you just go ahead and send them a text and give them the link right quick. Since you're here, at least we know it worked for you, and you'll be able to get your friends included in this conversation as well. Previously, I played some music, and you may wonder why I'm starting with this. And it's not to promote DJ Khaled.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.
Now, why am I going there, right? Because I know what is true, which is to win, you have to take active steps. It is an active sport. Learning is going after your dreams, pursuing your passions. These are not bystander sports. They're sports that require something of us. But sometimes to get underway, we need a little jolt. We need someone that guides us and provides a bit more of a roadmap. Not a handout, it is a partnership. What Trinity offers from day one and even before is a real partnership. We don't do handouts, we do conversations that allow people to exercise their freedoms of choice toward the goals that they most desire. Let me slow that down and unbundle it, because what it means is the power is yours, the information can be shared, and the efforts to get you there is a joint collaborative with all of the resources, talent, and the motivated staff and faculty that are here at Trinity. So today we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make sure that you have that knowledge so that you can get where you're going in the shortest amount of time possible with ease and understanding of what's out there and available to you in the market. So here's the agenda for today that I'm going to bring up to share with you. Again, get your friends to join us if they haven't already logged on. To get us underway at 6:35, which is a little different time frame than we thought we would get started, but better late than never. Our agenda for this afternoon or evening is pretty simple. This welcome that we just did for you, but it's more about the extension of care that starts at the onset of this experience. When you know people care for and about you, you kind of move differently, right? What happens in relationships when you know you're loved and you're cared for? You kind of come forward with a little more confidence, knowing that you're well regarded and well supported. You'll find that at Trinity in every environment and in everything that we do. I want to encourage you from this point forward to think like an investor and act like the invested. What does that mean? Investors, one, do their homework. They have an understanding of the portfolio. They use knowledge to their advantage. They share resources that allow for more dividends to be released. I know I'm using business speak, but if you just work with me on it for a second, it takes that investor mindset of I'm going to do what's necessary to search and find and explore and apply the rightful application to the right problem so that I can fix or remedy or provide some type of future for myself. And if you act like the invested, what do we do when our partners are invested in us or our workplace is invested in us? We tend to give a little more because we know that there's a reciprocity there. There's an exchange of care and of need. So when you act like an investor, you do your homework, you act with intentionality, and then you act like the invested, someone that is already believed in, someone that does have a lot to offer and a lot to gain. It allows you to follow up, follow through, be that type of person that allows your goals to be more likely to be fulfilled. None of this is magic. I love the idea of the Black girl magic or Latinx magic. You take any magic you want. It's not magic. It is intentional action toward a goal that's based on knowledge and understanding. So we're going to give you the knowledge and understanding, and you have to come equipped with the action. I also want to make sure you have a fuller understanding of good debt versus bad debt, because not all debt is the same, right? If I buy a car, that depreciates the moment I take it off the lot. The moment I start to drive it, some of its value is lost. If I buy a home, that tends to appreciate in most markets on most days, unless you're in a bubble. So that means certain things add value, just like education. So even if you take out a student loan and get bankrupt over time, you don't get waived out of that student loan debt. Why? Because education is of such value that once you get it, not only can no one ever take it from you, but it equates to good debt. It is an investment in something that produces a return on investment that has longevity, and in terms of what you can capitalize on in terms of your long-term earning potential. So there's good debt and not so good debt. As we talk about the possibility of loans, should that enter our conversation, I know that some people have a avoidance to loans. Now, don't get me wrong, credit card debt, usually not good debt. Low interest student loan debt, a better debt to take on, knowing that the beneficiary is you and knowing the transformative power of education. So there's certainly a lot of value to be earned by good debt that is associated with something like a student loan. But remember, we're talking DC grants. Grants are something that you don't have to pay back. I'm not going to take Vice President Kathy's thunder. She'll walk us through all the types of aid that we give and hone in on the grants. But I want to make sure you understand that some debt is actually good for you. Depends on how much you take. Don't take on much more than you need. Some people like to take on a lot of extra loans just so that they can have free cash to throw around. But remember, it does have some interest rate associated with it. So I want to caution you against that. We'll give you some resources that you can tap into at your leisure and disposal, and then the action steps that you will need to take to be most effective here. So when it's all said and done, things you will learn. You'll learn about all of the DC grants that are available. You'll learn how to apply for them and some of the highlight film of what to watch out for and things to consider. You'll learn, if you don't know already, how to be in touch with your financial aid office. You'll get exposure to Larry Davis from the Educational Opportunity Center at the College Board. You'll have available to you a set of resources that you can act on. Last thing, let me say this. When it comes down to how we spend our time, it may seem like, oh, it takes an hour to do this application. It takes 2 hours to do this application. Let's think about it this way. Chick-fil-A, for example, I think I saw a sign as of late that said they were paying like $18 an hour. Some places may even pay $20. Maybe you got a good government job and you're making the equivalent of $25, $30, $35 an hour. All those things sound great. And I will add, you could take 1 hour of your time and potentially get a grant that's worth $2,500. So $18 an hour at Chick-fil-A, $25, $30 an hour at some government location, 1 hour equals the possibility of $2,500 of free money for college from a DC grant. Sounds like a good use of my time. If anyone's ever gotten a ticket from the District of Columbia, now is your time to recover that cost, right? You've given DC some money of yours that you probably didn't want to give away. I say go knock on the door of the DC government by doing these DC grants and get some of that money back and say, hey, pay me this time. I'm going to Trinity Washington to earn my credentials. Enough from me. Let me turn it over to those that will give you the content for today. I'll advance the slides. My colleagues will just simply say advance now. Again, this session is recorded. If you have questions at any point, the way we do our work is you're free to raise your hand, or you can put a question in the chat, or if you want to bundle your questions and have an appointment with your financial aid counselor later, you can. The value of asking your questions now is there's no time like the present. We're all here at this magical moment. Let's just get it done. And sometimes someone else has the same question. So if you ask something, you could actually benefit a friend. And you know, we love to help our friends. Okay, Kathy, you're up, and will advance the slides when you tell me to.
Okay, thank you, Monica. So glad to have everyone joining us here tonight. We also have on the line Mrs. Martha Molina, who's Trinity's Director of Financial Aid, and she'll be available to answer questions in the chat. So as Monica said, please ask your questions. They're almost always helpful for other people. I just want to put our conversation in the context of all kinds of financial aid. We're being very specific here tonight, but there are lots of other kinds of financial aid available for students. So financial aid generally falls into these basic categories. Scholarships and grants are gifts of money. There's not much difference between a scholarship and a grant. A scholarship maybe rewards your grades and your academic history, whereas grants may be more based on financial need or based on a certain characteristic, like students who are veterans. But that's where you want to start your financial aid search. Loans and federal work study are other options, and we do have financial aid counselors at Trinity who will help you go over your whole package of financial aid awards and decide which ones are best for you. But as I said, we're focusing tonight on grants specifically. Next slide. And all of those types of financial aid, grants, scholarships, loans, they come from different sources. Some come from the federal government, some come from the DC government or other states, and we're focusing on DC government grants tonight. There's other outside scholarship sources, private scholarships, churches, other government agencies. And of course, the institution or the school, Trinity does give out a lot of scholarships, and we'll mention some of those tonight. And that varies by which program you're applying for. So your admissions recruiter and your financial aid advisor can also give you more information on those. The next slide. So what everyone should do is file the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. Maybe Martha can put that link in the chat for me so everybody can bookmark it in your browsers or on your phone. There's also an app you can download at the website. It's fafsa.ed.gov. You're going to be putting in your 2020 income information. So that's from 2 years ago. So you don't have to be scrambling to find your most recent tax return. It's the one you did last year. To apply for federal financial aid, you do need to be a US citizen or permanent resident. But don't worry if you're not. We have other kinds of grants and scholarships that we will talk about tonight also. Next slide. So here's some specific scholarships for DC residents. The DC College Access Program is a private scholarship, and the following grants are from the DC government. Tuition Assistance Grant, the Mayor's Scholars Program, DC Futures, and the DC TAPIT program. And I have a little more detail on each type of scholarship. So the DC College Access Program is for recent high school graduates. If you're a senior in high school now or a recent graduate, you will have a DC CAP counselor at your high school, and you can contact them to apply. They'll need a copy of your award letter and a copy of your FAFSA, and you can get up to $2,000 per year at Trinity. Next slide, please. The DC Tuition Assistance Grant is the oldest DC grant. Students at Trinity can get $2,500 per year. The great thing about this grant, it is not need-based. It's not based on your family's income. Everybody who meets the residency requirements is eligible for this. And it's mostly students who've graduated from college fairly recently in the last 5 or 6 years. There's an easy application to apply online. And you can upload your documents there also to prove your DC residency. The DC Futures Grant is a brand new scholarship that DC has, funded with money from COVID relief that states have gotten. So this is the last dollar scholarship. That means they will pay what's left of your tuition after other grants and scholarships. up to $4,000 per semester in the fall and spring semesters, which is a really generous grant. There's only 3 schools in DC that are participating in this, and Trinity is one of them. So we're really grateful for that. The wonderful thing about this program is it's not just the scholarship for your tuition. They provide an academic advisor for coaching. You get a stipend you can use for other expenses like buying your books. You also have access for emergency funds for little expenses that come up. It is need-based, and you can apply online at that link, which is a little odd, but we'll be putting them in the comments so everybody can bookmark them. The DC Mayor Scholars is another program. This is both need and merit-based. So it's, you have to send a copy of your FAFSA, and they do look for at least a 2.5 GPA, and you can apply online at that same DC website. I also wanted to let you know there are some special scholarships for childcare educators for people who are coming back to school to finish their AA or their BA. Trinity has a scholarship called our School of Professional Studies Early Childhood Education Scholarship. This is not just for people who live in DC, it's for people who work at a child care center in DC. And the next 2 scholarships are actually brand new. Sorry, can we go back to the, thanks. The DC LEAD Scholarship is another new program from DC for early childhood educators. It's going to be for students who work at a child care center in Southeast DC in Wards 7 and 8. The Advancing Cities Partnership is another scholarship where Trinity is one of the few colleges participating. And it's another opportunity that gives scholarships, coaching, stipends, and help with buying your books. So those are both so hot off the press, I don't have web links for them yet, but you stay in touch with your recruiter and admissions and your financial aid advisor, and we'll be giving more information out about those. The next slide, thanks. And there are still so many other kinds of scholarships from different sources. As I mentioned before, if you're a veteran, there's generous veterans benefits. If you participated in ROTC in high school, they offer scholarships. If you had a special learning plan in high school, an IEP, an individualized education plan, you may be eligible for assistance from DC's Rehabilitation Services Administration. They will also cover the difference on your tuition minus your other grants and scholarships. If you've been involved with DC's foster care system, they have a program called the Education Training Voucher that you can apply for. Other resources we have on our website that we're updating all the time outside scholarships from businesses, churches, and civic associations. Check with your employer, check with your parents' employer, check with your church. Sometimes you need to really, just as Monica said, spend some time really investing in yourself and your future, looking for these scholarships, even if some of them are small. As she mentioned, it's a good investment of your time for what you get back on it, paying your tuition and reducing what you might need to borrow otherwise. And one of our greatest resources in DC that we're so thankful is the Educational Opportunity Center, sponsored by the College Board. It offers free workshops and counseling to help you find money to pay for school. Larry Davis is here from the Educational Opportunity Center, and he's going to show you a QR code you can scan to register and get personal help from him. And he'll be giving us even more details about applying for these DC scholarships so you guys can get right on it. Larry?
Thank you, Kathy. Fantastic. So my name is Larry Davis, and I'm with Educational Opportunity Center. And the key word here is opportunity. If you want assistance with your next career move, college admissions, and you've already decided on the best school there is at Trinity University, training programs, financial aid, scholarships, academic and career planning, loan default management, financial and economic literacy, all for free, then this is the place for you. We provide one-on-one services from one of our professional educational counselors who will tailor a plan for your need. So tonight, I've been honored to talk a little bit more about the DC grants. So if we go to, and my information is here on this slide, and if you scan that QR code, you are able to just scan that and be able to do a registration card, and I will be in touch with you as soon as possible, definitely. So let's look at the next slide that we'll go into the links for the DC grants. So, because you've heard about these wonderful grants, you said, well, how do I get to them? What do I do? How do I go about doing this? So if you click the first link, it says icdc.gov, pay scholarships, grants, and students. When you click on that link,
Do you want me to go there, Larry, as you're talking?
please.
Keep talking. I'll go there while I'll bring it up as you're talking. Go ahead.
Yes. So what happens is, someone mentioned DC Tag earlier. There's three grants that are just ready for you right now. And the deadlines usually is June 30th. But this year, because of COVID, we moved everything to August the 19th. And we talk about DC Futures. You heard about that one. So that's $8,000 of free money. And if you,
Okay, go ahead. Should I go to home?
Yeah, right
that
there.
link took me to the page where it didn't have much on it.
Huh.
It took me to this page. It says page not found. But I could go to the home page and then you can guide us from there.
Okay, go down to
Apply for scholarships and grants.
exactly. Thank you.
Of course.
And apply today. Right. Okay. So, and if you scroll down just a little bit more, it talks about all three: DC Futures, DC Mayors, and DC Tag. And somebody's asking the question, well, can I get all three? The answer is absolutely yes. So each one, DC Futures is up to $8,000. DC Tag is $2,500, up to $2,500. And the Mayor Scholarship is up to $4,000. We're talking $14,500 of free money, and all of this is in addition to your Pell Grant. If you are Pell Grant eligible, which is what is generated from the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid, that's an additional $6,895. So we're talking about over $22,000 in grants. This is monies that you do not have to pay back. So you want to take advantage of each and every one of these. And we will sit down with you, help you complete the applications. But if you click like DC Tuition Assistance Grant, that's for DC residents who are currently in school and it's up to the age of 26. And you go to the DC-1 application, it talks about required documents, the minimum income, and it gives you everything that you would want to do for the DC Tag, which is the Tuition Assistance Grant. And as I said, for Trinity, that's $2,500 of free money. Then if you go back and click on DC Futures, it's very, very similar. The difference is there's no age limit. So this is for adults. So you can be 18 or you can be 80. And you begin by clicking on an application where it says apply here. You have to complete an application. From there, it leads you to the things that you will need in order to show proof of residency. That's the biggest, that's your biggest thing that you have to come up with. And the mayor's scholarship is very similar. They both require both types of documentation. All three, DC Futures, DC Mayors, and DC Tag, all require that you have proof of residency. So you ask, so what makes me a resident? If you file taxes in the District of Columbia, then you would show your 2021 certified D40, or your district taxes that you filed for then. If you didn't pay taxes, say you got child support, you were in retirement, you got SSID disability, you got TANF or SNAP or food stamps, then you just show you got unemployment, you had workers' compensation. Then you would only show 12 months of those payments for that. And if you are homeless or an unaccompanied youth, as long as you have proof of that information, and usually this is through the McKinney-Vento Act, then that's all you have to show as far as domicile. Then they ask for like another, that shows that you're a resident. And then they want you to know that, have proof of residency. So a lot of times that's a bank statement, that's a pay stub, that's a utility bill. And utility bills are either gas, water, cable, electric, or a landline phone. No cell phone bills are permitted. Or, you might be one of those people who said, well, I live with my parents, but I'm over 25, so I don't have to show their income. Then you could get a letter from them or a letter from a landlord or someone that states that all things are included in your utilities. So these are the types of grants that, excuse me, that I wanted to inform you about, and the things that you might want to know. So at this point in time, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. We have about 2 months from the deadline is April 19th, 2022.
August 19th.
I'm sorry, August. I keep getting it. It's August 19th, 2022. So we have some time to sit down, go step by step with you to complete these applications so that you can get this free money. I just mentioned up to $20,000 in free money. Kathy has given an excellent presentation about the different resources, and now I've shown you where to go get it and giving you the offer of sitting down with you and working with you one-on-one to make sure that you get all the resources that you need for your next level of greatness. It's your turn now.
That's fantastic. I mean, there's so much information here. So thank you, Larry. Thank you. I put in the chat as Larry was speaking, the link that I'm walking through, but I want you to take some time with that, because remember we said we're going to act like and we're going to think like investors, and we're going to act like the invested. So that requires some action from us to actually take that link and spend some time with it, because it's to your benefit. There's also a comparison document that allows you to see the comparison between the types of programs. And I just want to go back to that for a second, so you'll be able to search for yourself and see what makes these programs different from one another. And in a moment, I'll just plant that in the chat for you too, because that document, I think, allows you to see the differences. But I see a couple of hands raised. Let me take those hands, and in the interim, I'll put the link in the chat for you to see the comparison. April raised her hand at some point, April. And I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see everyone that may be raising their hands. Let's see.
Yeah.
April, did you put your hand down?
Yes, I put it down. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. Nika.
Hi, how are you? I have a question. So for the mayor's scholarship, there's no age requirement. So I'm 35 years old, so I'm eligible to apply for that, is what you're saying, on top of the DC Futures?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
That's great. Any more questions?
Yeah, I was asking about the master's program. You guys have the master's, like some master programs?
Okay, if you were a person, if you're trying to get a master's degree in education, like early childhood or something along those lines, then you are eligible for what is called the Teach Grant, which is another $4,000. Now, I'm not right, so I'm not sure about if mayors would cover that one, but but that would still make you eligible for the Teach Grant. And then there's other things like the DC Leads, and all of those could also help you with a master's degree as well. For sure.
Awesome. Okay.
But it's something that I'd be glad to sit down with you and help research. That is not a problem.
Okay, yeah, I took down your contact information, yeah.
Okay, great.
I teach now and I want to get my master's, but I'm undecided. I just wanted in something. So I'm just like, I kind of do middle school now, but I miss my little ones. So and they were telling me if I wanted to, come back to, because I did the substitute thing for like 2 years, but
right.
My degree is like in mass media, journalism, communication, but like to teach at that level, I have to do middle or high school, but I'm dying to go back to the little ones because middle school just, nah. I miss the little ones. They actually listen. The other ones, not too much. So yeah, I would be interested in finding out about the master's in early education, but I can email you afterwards or anything.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Thank you so much. Okay.
And to the transfer students that are potentially in the group and listening in, the grants we're talking about is not based on whether you're a transfer or coming straight from high school. These are grants that are associated with your residency. So you can still apply for these grants even as a transfer student if you're a DC resident, since tonight's focus is on DC grants. But as Kathy said earlier, there are a host of other aid options, from institutional aid to outside scholarships. Most Mondays in the month of March, April, and May, most of those Mondays, and we'll pick it up in the fall, we did something called Money Mondays, where we had Larry and others join us on a regular cadence to talk about different scholarship options. But even if you do your own Google search based on either where you live or areas of interest, sorority groups give away money, other social organizations like Links Incorporated. In fact, the Links national president was on the news this morning. The annual meeting is in Baltimore. At the end of this week, they give out lots of money. I mentioned the sororities. Companies do. Larry has spoken before, but a Dunkin' Donuts scholarship. So I get excited just thinking about it, because what we know to be true is there's often more money available than sometimes students actually access. So the money either gets displaced or repositioned for other things. So you don't want to leave those free dollars on the table. They do require some effort though, and that's what we're here to support you behind. So let me stop talking, go back to you with the other questions you might have. Same goes true for SPS students in our School of Professional Studies. Again, these are residency based, not program based. So it's not based on if you're, coming to arts and sciences or the School of Professional Studies. Some aid does require a certain level of involvement in your studies. Like sometimes you have to be a full-time student, depends on the terms and conditions. But Larry went through some of those application details for you.
Monica, this is Marta.
Hey, Marta.
There's questions in the chat about whether students can take online classes or not, or what programs offer online classes. Can you address that?
If the aid could be used for online classes. Yeah, again, the grants we're talking about is that a question? I'm sorry, Martha, I want to make sure.
No, students are asking whether they can take online classes at Trinity and what programs offer online courses.
Okay, that won't be the focus of today's session, but certainly we do have some programs that are offered online. Let's get you connected back to the admissions office, because not every program is online. We're a highly residential college. So we do offer the majority of our coursework in person. But for example, our Master's of Public Health is online, our business degree is online. We do have some programs that are offered online, but not everything we offer is an online offering. Wanda?
Oh, no, sorry. It's just to let her know that I in the chat box, when they are asking questions out of the topic today, I'm responding to them to where to talk to. Yes.
Thank you, Wanda. Very helpful. Thank you. Other questions? You remember, we're giving you the roadmap to get money. DC grants, there's so many of them. Nika.
Okay, this is similar to what I asked before. So Where it says who can apply for the merit scholarship, it is a requirement. It says graduates from 2008 to 2002. So that makes a difference. Yeah. So I'm sure we have plenty of people on here that graduated before that. So that means you won't be qualified for that, correct?
You're absolutely right, Nika, and I apologize for that. But the DC Futures has no age limit at all. And of course, the Pell Grant doesn't have any age limit either. And so I know DC Futures is $8,000 and the DC Pell Grant is $6,800. So that's still $14,000 out there that's for you. In addition to other scholarships, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, guys. I apologize for jumping in because I'm not able to raise my hand. Something's going on with my cell phone. So sometimes I'm kicked all the way out and have to come back in. You may have noticed it. I have a really quick question. I am returning to school because I'm an adult educator and I want to get an associate's, go on to a bachelor's and master's as well. My question is, I have a 15-year-old who is a rising junior in high school. And I want to make sure that I do not, I don't want to take out a loan. So if there's all the scholarship money that's available, I would love to apply for any of it and all of it, but I don't want to interfere with whatever may be available for my son when it's time for him to go to school, because I may have taken out scholarships, grants, or whatever. I just do not wish to interfere with his education and what we will be doing for him. So I just want to make sure that I'm guided properly so that I don't negate whatever opportunities can be awarded to him, because I'm trying to go back to school.
Actually, it goes in your favor that both of you going back to school because they will not take anything away from you nor him by both of you going back to school. Actually, that makes you more eligible for more grants. So that's the good part. They look at you as two different individuals, and not as one. So that's good. He should actually start right now looking for scholarships. Take my information. There are tons of scholarships out here for juniors. So please take my information. We can meet one-on-one and we can start a path for him as well as for yourself. You getting your associate's degree, that opens up even more opportunities for you. So there is money, and it's not going to be, you won't hurt him and he won't hurt you.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm not certain who the person I perhaps should be speaking with, but my short story is that I'm 54 and I graduated from Howard University with a dental hygiene certificate. My program did not offer an associate's or a bachelor's. However, I have a whole lot of credits, and I'm not certain what would transfer and what would not. So I would love to sit down with someone and let them look at my transcript and let me find out what would work for me best. And I'm thinking more or less, at least with an associate's in perhaps. I'm not certain. I'm not always certain yet, but I would just like to speak with somebody because I've got a few things that I'm interested in, and I don't want another degree in dentistry, but I definitely want a degree so that I can continue to teach. And public health is really one of my interests, as well as motivational speaking and public speaking. So I'm not certain how that would help in life coaching and counseling, but whoever is on that could sort of guide me through getting my associate's, bachelor's, as well as my master's, that's my goal.
Great. Well, Ms. Brown, first of all, I applaud you for doing what you're doing, going back to school and at the same time shepherding and guiding your son as a great parent does. So you're doing the right things. We're here to support you on it. A couple of things. We do have a transfer recruiter, Wanda, who introduced herself earlier, and she can raise her hand again just so you can have visibility to who Wanda is. She is the recruiter for transfer military and international students. Absolutely fabulous. Had been our previous director at another place. We're so glad to have snatched her up to be here at Trinity. So she can walk you through the transfer process and get your credits evaluated. If any are able to transfer over, she can work with the advising team to make sure that happens seamlessly for you. So Wanda would be your point of contact. Wanda will know how to reach you from your RSVP list, and also we'll make sure you have Wanda's contact information.
And Michelle, I sent you also already my email and my phone number in the box. And if you decide to either go in the daytime or evening time, we have also a conversation there.
Well, I can definitely let you know, I am in a position where I am the head of my household. And so I am on also a fast track. I am looking at weekend school, and I do better with shorter semesters. And I'm praying that I don't find out that credits from 1990, which is when I graduated, are completely null and void, and I have to literally start all over again. If I have to start all over again, like, I don't know, but I just know that this is the path in which that I am on. So I can't stop working. I teach right now at Fortis College, and to earn more money, because as we all probably know, at least I have found out that as a clinical dental hygienist, I make really great money. I love what I do. Been doing it for 32 years, and I really love teaching, but it doesn't pay the same. To get more degrees means that I get more money. But because I love it so much, I've not been able to turn it off. I've not been able to not think about it. And I have even started a business a year ago that's doing okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we want to give you the personal attention that you deserve. So Wanda is at the ready, and she's going to do that, and she's going to give you a one-on-one. That way you don't have to try to do it with 30 of your friends following along. But what we're going to do is the one-on-one, which is what you deserve, and we're going to give you that kind of attention. So Wanda will work with you on that, okay? We really love the enthusiasm and that you're ready to go, and we're ready too. So I think we got a good match. Good.
Thanks.
Other questions that are emerging from the group? This is your time, not ours. So let us know how we can be most helpful. Okay, I hear that there's some issues with DC futures. Yes, I'll make sure our contact information is reshared. Larry Davis has given his information again in the chat. We'll make sure you have the Scan Me. I'm going to bring it back up so you can have the Scan Me code that he said. Just take your little phone and point it right toward that scan box on the slide you're about to see, and you'll be able to access Larry. We're not authorized to give your information to Larry. You have to voluntarily say, I want to work with Larry, who's a free provider of resources and services, but he is outside of Trinity. He's with the Educational Opportunity Center. But if you scan that, just know you're turning over the ability for Larry to contact you, which we do support, but it is not a mandate nor an obligation. Great. So we have to give you some action items, right? Because when we do our work, we have to make sure that we know what to do next, because you can hear a lot. Lataya, you told me.
Yes, hi. I just needed to reach out to Miss Melina. I don't want to take up too much time for a personal request, but my daughter applied, and we listed, when you submit your FAFSA application, it asks you what colleges should we send information to, or that you have applied. So I'm trying to figure out where she currently stands, because her transcripts were sent to Trinity. We listed Trinity on her FAFSA. So we just need to keep the ball rolling in reference to what we need to do. And I need to get in contact with someone in the admissions office who could help me do that.
Okay. Admissions, we love to talk to students and prospective ones. So I'm going to make sure that you have our contact info. It's here in the chat that I'm typing right now. But probably before you can get to us, we're going to reach out to you because you just made a comment that we're going to be eager to follow up on. So we want to make sure that we give you what you need. But it's admissions@trinitydc.edu is the email address for the admissions office that allows us to route you to your designated recruiter. But because Lataya, you just asked that question, we can also look at the RSVP list and make sure we know who the recruiter is that's going to reach out to you. So it's coming from both sides. Jessica is the director of admissions. She has put her contact information in the chat as well. And I think I said I was going to share that scan code, which I think I just did, but just in case someone didn't capture it yet. Larry?
I was going to remind Miss Loring to make sure her daughter is eligible for the mayors as well as DC Futures as well as DC Tag when it comes to Trinity. So that.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Davis. So with this new information, I know she applied to the CAP. She did CAP. We're still waiting to hear back from that based on the recruitment person who's assigned to her designated high school. Right. But she will be also applying for all of the other programs that I just learned about attending this webinar tonight. So thank you.
Sure, not a problem.
Happy to help, by the way, Lataya. So just sent you my contact information and also sent you a direct message. So feel free to reach out to me. I will also be reaching out to you. So if you have any questions, more than happy to help you and your daughter through the process.
Thank you.
In the words of some of my friends, that's what's up, right? That's people helping people. So I love it. Okay. April had her hand up and then Elizabeth. So April first.
Yes, good evening. My question would be, so if I apply for, say, for instance, Tap It, and I apply for these futures and I apply for other scholarships, other scholarships, meaning I'm currently in Trinity now trying to get at the art. So I'm in the undergrad. So my thing will be, I guess it's too much aid. So if I apply and I get money from Tap It and I apply and get money for DC Futures, does it, I want to say, does it cancel out the other, or like, how does that, I guess.
How it all works together to make sure that everything is covered. Tap It, I think it's tuition only, but then you have your Pell Grant, which will help you cover books, room and board, those types of things. So what happens is you don't get a quote unquote refund check, but all your needs are met, meaning your books are taken care of, your tuition, your fees, all of that is taken care of. And once that amount has been met, then you're done. It's not like you'll have a surplus, but you want to apply for all of it because you don't know what you're going to get from who and how much you're going to get from who.
Larry, DC Futures subtracts the Pell Grant off the tuition. So
it does?
Yeah, it's a new program, so we're kind of all learning as it goes along. But yes, so we have a program at the ARC with a very low tuition that
right.
So Futures and Tap It would both say, oh, well, tuition's already paid, so you wouldn't get that.
But then when they move to the main campus where the tuition is more, then they would be able to use both for that. Yes, that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Even if you don't get the scholarship for DC Futures, you still have access to the stipend, to the funds, and the college counseling. So it's still important to apply and be part of the program.
Yeah, you can't miss out on that coaching. There's also a coaching component to the DC Futures scholarship as well, and you don't want to miss out on that coaching, and which sometimes, and there's a stipend, which can be used toward books.
Right.
So I see these hands and I'm loving it. quick thought, the mom-daughter combos, absolutely love it. We have several illustrations of moms and daughters and moms who later sent their daughters to Trinity. So you're not alone. You're in a great space for that to happen. We have a mom-daughter initiative. I'm coining that phrase now. So if you haven't heard it, just know I just made it up. But the initiative is to make sure that every mom that has a daughter that is ready and wants to has a roadmap at Trinity. So let's say you're a mom on this call and you know your daughter is rising soon or soon to have explore some options for college. Write to us at the admissions at trinitydc.edu and use subject line mom-daughter initiative. What that says to us is, hey, I'm a mom and I'm brokering on behalf of me and my daughter who's coming right up behind me. And it allows us to both know that you've self-identified, because again, we won't have access to your daughter without your permission and without you sharing that understanding with us. So that's where the mom-daughter combo helps us help you create this pathway for your daughter. And you get the benefit of going to school knowing that not only you're getting a great education, you're doing something great for your child at the same time. So I see it as a win-win. You remember that song at the beginning, all we do is win, 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 no matter what. So we're going about the business of winning. So let's help you do that as well. Jameson, and there was another hand that was up. Elizabeth, do you still have a question? You put your hand down.
Hi, good afternoon. Yes.
Go ahead, you can go with your question, then I'll go to Jameson and then Lataya again, okay? Go ahead.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll be attending Trinity in the fall. I've already did everything with my associates, so I'll be coming in as a junior for the criminal justice department, program for evenings and weekends. My question with the DC Futures is, so I've done everything, but I'm a bit confused about the D40 form. That's where I'm having an issue with. Is there someone that you can refer me to specifically ask questions about that form, as well as where do I obtain that form? Because when I did the application, I submitted with my tax returns, and then I got an email, and I've been trying to reach out to the person who emailed me, but I'm just trying to understand specifically what is the form and where do I obtain it?
Okay, so was your D40 signed that you submitted? It has to be signed by, if you're the one who did it, it needs to be signed before you can upload it. It won't accept it if it hasn't been signed.
So, well, and that's the thing. I did not submit the D40. I just submitted my 2021 tax returns. So I guess I didn't read it correctly. I wasn't supposed to submit my actual tax returns.
Exactly.
Correct?
All they want is the D40, which is the district form, in order for them to say that, hey, this person filed taxes in DC, that means they're a DC resident. That's exactly what they need.
So in terms of the signature, it has to be a West signature, meaning that
you can have a copy. You can have a copy from your tax person and just sign that copy, but it has to be signed in order for it to be official.
So I normally do my own taxes. Is there do I go to the government website to retrieve that form, or where do I get that form from?
If you already filed, you should have a copy of it. You don't have a copy of what you filed?
So yeah, I have my taxes, but I looked through all the pages. Maybe I need to go back into it and just look to see.
If you reach out to me, and I'll be glad to help you with that as well.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Not a problem.
Great question, thank you. Jameson, then Lataya.
Yes, thank you. My question is, I was last at Trinity in 2019. So I was just wondering, how do I basically go through admissions again for the fall? And should I start applying for money now, or do I get accepted back into Trinity first?
Your question's a good one. Thanks for your willingness to kind of get started again, and we're ready to receive you. So a couple of thoughts. We just did an initiative this spring where we're messaging students about coming back under a campaign to just kind of get you going again. You're now at a good spot because time still is on your side with us going into July 1 at the end of the week. That admissions at trinitydc.edu And plus, now that you've raised that question, we'll make sure that a recruiter reaches out to you to say, well, now that you're coming back, let's help you apply again. We can get your application pretty much going very fast. If you've taken any classes since you've been away, maybe at another school, you may just have to update any transcripts you've had. If you've not done any additional coursework since then you don't need new transcripts. We would have them probably from 2019, but I don't want to misspeak on that. We have had some system changes along the way. So we'll look under the hood and see if we still have all your credentials. Short answer is you can do your application and reapply because it is a reapplication. There's no application fee. Our recruiters will walk you through the process. There's still enough time to get admitted for fall and do your FAFSA. So the link that Kathy showed earlier about doing the FAFSA and the code, we'll make sure we plug it back into the chat so you can get your FAFSA started, because you can start the FAFSA right now, even as we log off tonight. And then we can get you going first thing with refiling your application to get back in the system. So this isn't making promises about your reentry. This is just giving you the roadmap for your reentry. There's still some investigation we have to do about, where did you leave off last? I don't know your scenario. I won't pretend that we understand your academic footing or status when you left. So we'll just look at that to make sure you're in good position to launch back into your program. But the short answer is you have time, but act now. Start the application again. You can go online and do it from our online application system, and then also start your FAFSA. Meanwhile, our recruiters will reach out to you to give you the step-by-step strategy to get enrolled again. If you still have questions from anything I've just said, let us know. Put it in the chat or re-raise your hand if you have questions still.
Thank you so much.
Let's see, April.
I'm sorry, this is my last question. So does typically grants cover summer too? Because I know sometimes certain grants don't cover summer classes. So will that be an issue if I'm trying to take summer classes?
That's a great question, April. Some of the DC grants are just for fall and spring. And then some, like the mayor's, if you don't use it during the year, you can use it during the summer. And then the federal aid is available for the summer. So it really depends on which combination of grants and scholarships you have. So at the start of the year, you should talk with your academic advisor and your financial aid advisor and just make a plan for the year. What semesters do you want to take classes? How many credits are you taking? What aid do you have for each semester? They can make a plan with you for that whole academic every year.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, who just asked that? That was April Jameson? And
no question. I need to take the
link in the chat.
All right.
I'm sorry, Jameson, go ahead.
I need to take the hand down. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I just put the apply now link in the chat for anyone looking to apply still for this fall to either reapply or apply for the first time. And even if you're reapplying, it's the same application. It's not a separate application that you fill out.
Monica, I would encourage the students who have this question about reapplying that instead of starting the application right away, for them to reach one of us to help them, because sometimes it's just a change in the system that they don't have to start from the beginning. So it would be good if they just send us an email, and we have posted our emails on the chat. So just to be sure for them to email us as soon as possible. And either way, we're going to be following up.
Fantastic. And I put that email for the admissions office back in the chat. So we're coming down to the conclusion. Larry, were you going to give?
Yeah, and I wanted to piggyback on what Kathy was saying. The DC Future Scholarship is actually, it actually states that it can be used for spring and summer. So it is one of the ones that can be used year round as also.
Thank you, Larry. So a recap of some of the action items. You are going to, one, take stock of where you are, right? This fact that you're ready to either restart or you're already committed to starting, or you're looking also for a family member or a friend, in that inventory of looking at where you are, that will start to identify what you need next. For people that need to restart, I've not yet applied and I'm ready to go back. Your journey will be different because you're starting an application, but Wanda suggested also reaching out to admissions and getting the guided tour approach to how best to go about it. That way you're not starting on your own, trying to figure it out. You get support from the onset to work your way through it. That's if you're reapplying. If you've already applied, you're accepted, you're joining us this fall, you've done your FAFSA or still need to do it, then you have gotten the codes from Kathy about our school code. You've gotten all the links from Larry about the DC grants. You know now what the requirements are for each area. There was a previous tab I put in the chat about a comparison document that looks at all the DC grants, so you can see at a glance all the differences there. But you're going to be intentional about giving yourself a timeline. And usually that timeline looks something like, tomorrow I will do ABC. That way you ensure that you make yourself accountable to whom? Yourself. To say, these are the things I'm going to do. Or before I go into the 4th of July holiday and eat at the family reunion or the barbecue, I'm going to make sure these applications are done or that the grants have been at least started, if not submitted. Then give yourself a final point by which you plan to have done the following. I'm going to reach out to my financial aid counselor, make time with Larry Davis, talk to admissions if I need to get started or pivot to someone else that I want to, or refer someone else that I would love to have join me at Trinity. All those things will be associated with actions and dates. So if I were to give you like a matrix for yourself to be thinking about how to do this, I would say, what is my goal? My goal includes being enrolled by fall 2022 with finances secured to underwrite the cost of my degree. To that end, I will do the following. This application for the DC grants, and I'm going to do it by X date. I'm going to make appointments with my financial aid counselor, and I'm going to do it by X date. I'm going to scan that picture and make it a meeting with Larry Davis by a certain date. So then you project manage your life in a way that helps you meet your goals. While this may sound like a lot, it isn't. The reason we know is because all of us that have been talking to you have all done it. And we don't have capes on our back. We don't have anything magical of a wand or anything else. We've gone about a journey that just took step by step. But I also know that every person is different and every life circumstance is real and may be different. That said, I don't know your life. I don't know your struggle, which is true. But I do know that opportunity comes with these efforts and the knowledge that we've shared. So because of that, I feel confident that should you take these steps and give yourself the timeline and give Trinity a chance to partner with you, I don't see how you can go off the rails with this type of journey, with this type of support. Life does happen. Should life get in the way, this is where that added support that we talk about that makes Trinity distinctive comes into fuller view, because it's wraparound support services. We're not doing one solution remedies. It's not like it's only financial. You also have academic support people. You have the admissions people that stay with you. You have the extension of care to even the Educational Opportunity Center. All of those things count as wraparound support services to ensure that safety net and that road map that you're following is well supported along the way. We will stop here. Thank you for your time, and you are doing all the right things by showing up and then following up. You show up first, you follow up second. That combo always has to be a tag team. We're doing our life's work, at least I'll speak for myself, I am, and I believe my colleagues would share something similar. I know our president does, and her passion speaks every day that she makes it a mission of hers to ensure that Trinity's mission is carried forward to the students we serve.